right, thanks very much, Christina. Of course, I'm at Bay and Queen. It's one of the busiest intersections when it comes to pedestrians, and there's a growing call here. We've seen it over the last little while, over the recent spate of pedestrian and cyclist deaths. There's been a growing call to do something. Now, the mayor has Vision TO, and today there was an interesting group called launching Build the Vision TO, and you're part of the coalition. Liz Sutherland joins us now from Cycle Toronto to talk more about the coalition and what you would like to see. What is the key component that stands out for you that you think needs to be done?
Well, the call to action that is Build the Vision TO is about making space for people to move around freely, vulnerable road users as well as people driving. So making our public spaces safer and more vibrant for everyone.
Now, you want to see speeds reduced. That's one of the things you're calling for. What else?
Yes, the speed reduction piece is critical. We're calling for a speed limit of 40 kilometers per hour on main streets and 30 kilometers per hour on side streets, because speed kills. We know that it's a huge factor in how serious an injury or a death obviously can be, and so we're calling for speeds that are more consistent with preserving human life on our streets.
How do you sell that to drivers, especially in the suburbs, where the 50 is the norm, if not more than that? How do you convince them that this isn't, quote, the war on cars?
Well, what we would like to see is people understand that safety can't come at the expense of anything else, that we need to prioritize safety over convenience. And in many parts of the city, we already face congestion, and we can actually reduce congestion by getting more people biking, more people walking, so there are fewer people in cars. And in other cities where there is congestion, the presence of bike lanes and wider sidewalks can actually ease congestion. So we're actually saying it could be better for everyone.
It's also a mindset you have to try and change.
That's right, yeah. It is about prioritizing safety, and for that we need to get away from the idea that everyone can go as fast as they want. It's not the 1950s. There are many more people in the city that we have to move, and so we have to do that in a way that is safe.
And also, you'll be polling all the candidates in the municipal election.
That's correct. Our call to action is accompanied by a survey that we're putting out for all mayoral and council candidates. We sent it out today to everyone who's registered, and we'll gather the results over the summer. Basically, we're asking candidates to make commitments in the 15 priority areas, which we say is consistent with making safe and active streets for everyone. And we'll report that back in September so that voters can use it to inform their voting decisions.
Be sure to follow up with it. Liz, thank you very much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
Liz Sutherland, part of the coalition Build the Vision TO. Coming up, we'll have a response from the mayor and also from one councillor who's not a big fan of the whole idea. It has been a terrible first half of the year when it comes to road safety. We've seen numerous pedestrians, cyclists killed, especially in the last little while, and that has led to a growing call to do something about it. Well, today, a coalition led by the Toronto Centre for Active Transport and groups like Cycle Toronto all got together to release their Build the Vision TO, calling on the mayor and the city to do more to make the roads safer for everyone, not just for drivers and passengers, but pedestrians and cyclists as well. Now, some of the things they would like to see, the big one they're calling for is to reduce speeds to 30 kilometers an hour on all residential streets, 40 kilometers an hour on arterial and collector roads. They would like to see some traffic calming in all elementary school zones by 2022, and they'll streamline the traffic calming process in Toronto to make it faster and easier. As well, they also want to ensure the sidewalks are wide enough that people can get by easily, especially those in wheelchairs, and protected bike lanes, another main call. But they have a whole list of things that they would like to see done. Now, the mayor was asked about it today and had this response.
I found it interesting that of, I think, the 15 items that were put forward tomorrow by the group that wants to have a broader public discussion about this, which I fully support, many of those things are things we're already doing, and that are part of what's going to be financed by the $13 million. And I would only say that I think we have to be careful to make these decisions within the context of what is going to be most effective to keep people safer. I would rule nothing out from that entire list, and other ideas that I think we've yet to even consider that are coming from other cities. I've now asked, and the city staff have, of course, accepted an invitation to come to my office once a week and report in on exactly what is happening with respect to the implementation of this money and the other money from before. So in other words, I will be hearing, I hope each week, that's certainly my expectation, how many crosswalks did we zebra paint? How many bike lanes did we highlight and enhance in terms of the safety? How many signals did we change to be the safe signals that are more respecting of pedestrians first and foremost? And I think that's going to help just to make sure that we take this acceleration and the money seriously and move it forward as rapidly as possible.
The Build the Vision TO coalition plans to conduct a poll of all candidates in the upcoming municipal election. Those results will be released in September. Coming up, we talked to one councillor who stands firmly against all this, saying something like bike lanes could end up costing the city billions of dollars. This is what's called a ghost bike. They are left in spots where cyclists have been killed in collisions with vehicles or streetcars, things like that. They are all across the city. There have been several deaths of cyclists in the past little while, and numerous pedestrians. In fact, we're at 20 pedestrians and cyclists killed in the city so far this year. And so a group has launched a campaign to get the Vision TO, the mayor's vision of what should happen in the city when it comes to pedestrian and cycling safety, to get it moving forward. And to give you an idea of just how much of a price that pedestrians and cyclists pays when it comes to fatal crashes in the city, let's take a look at some of the numbers here. From 2017, 56% of the traffic fatalities were pedestrians, 5% were cyclists, considering only about 3% of people ride to work. Now, drivers were 19%. Motorcyclists were 7%, passengers 12%. Those numbers are rather frightening, but this group has been calling for reduced speed limits along with better bike lanes and better sidewalks in areas. But Councillor Giorgio Mammoliti from the north end of the city feels that isn't necessarily the answer.
We're a bunch of lunatics, as far as I'm concerned, that are building a structure that is unsafe for the people that want to use it. The more we build onto our roads the way we are, the unsafe manner that we're doing it in, and the more billions of dollars that we spend doing this, the more accidents that are going to happen and the more cyclists are going to be killed. And my opinion is hold off, stop it, let's figure out how to do this right, let's figure out what corridors need to happen first, instead of what's happening right now, which is let's just build them as quick as we can, wherever we can, and more people are going to be killed this way. The pedestrian part of this equation, I think, is important, but at the same time, I'm more curious as to what that means in terms of changing its approach to cars. We're used to our roads and our communities with cars. They want to change it so rapidly that it's only going to cause more congestion and more difficulty for people to get around the city. And that's what I truly believe is happening. I think that definitely sidewalks are a key part of this equation. I think that intersections are a key part of this equation. I think some of the things that they're talking about, like no right turns in intersections, might help, depending on where in the city it is. Downtown Toronto would only cause a backlog of cars if you did that. But there, certainly in the suburbs like here, that might work at some intersections. So I think those things are valid for pedestrians. But when you talk about the cycling part of this equation, I think we're Looney Tunes in terms of what we're doing.
Now, Mayor Tory asked for more money for the Vision Zero plan that they implemented 2 years ago. Another $13 million that will be spent this year on trying to improve safety for pedestrians and cyclists. Now, the Toronto Centre for Active Transportation, which is behind Build the Vision TO, is going to do a survey of all candidates, including the mayor, come the municipal election this fall. Those results will be released in September.